I was talking to my graphics person, and he said, well, you really need to come up with an antagonist for your speech. And I thought, well, yeah, I could probably come up with an antagonist. Maybe it's big oil. And then I thought, well, big oil is starting to turn around a bit for clean technologies. You just heard about Exxon investing money in algae. I don't know if that'll go anywhere. Hear about different oil companies like British Petroleum getting into solar. Some companies are doing wind. Valero's got a wind project. So you can't really say big oil is going to be the big antagonist for me. You could say government, but it looks like government's really on board with this. See it in the news all the time. All over the world, governments are beginning to support clean energy. So then I thought, well, but there really is one antagonist, and it's just people doing things the same way we've been doing it before. And I think we have a big opportunity right now to start doing things differently with clean tech. And it all comes down to us and our individual actions. And I think that's a big opportunity for everyone here to begin to look at how they can change their lifestyles, how they can begin to adopt a clean energy life. And therefore, once you start doing that, you might see some opportunities for yourself in terms of investing too. And we'll go over some of those today. So before I get started, I just want to hear, what do people want to hear about with clean tech? Why are they here? What sparked their interest? What's important to them about it? Anyone want to volunteer?
Making money.
Making money, okay. I like that one. Number one priority. That's like Warren Buffett says, make money, right? Okay, so what is clean tech? That's a big question that I get asked all the time. And sorry, our slides are a little off here because I switched to Keynote from PowerPoint. But really, clean tech's all about either on the generation side or the consumption side or storage. If you look at those are the main areas for clean tech. So it's very simple when you think about it: consumption, use or consumption, and then storage of the energy. So those are easy. And then sometimes we throw in a little pollution control on the side as part of clean tech, because that's part of cleaning up the existing infrastructure, which we've all got to deal with. So I'd say those four areas are generally what clean tech is. So my philosophy and our philosophy at our firm, Longboard Capital, is that the big mega trend here really is people are moving from consumption as status to sustainability as status. So it's very important when you start thinking about people's general social needs, that in the past, I think we've all been about the bigger the house, the bigger the car, the better person you are, the more important you are, the higher in social stature you become. But what if we can start changing that? And I think we're gonna. What if it's all about outgreening your neighbor? What if it's all about how small your carbon footprint is? What it's about quality over quantity. So instead of the number of square feet in your house, instead of, I got a 9,000 square foot house, well, I've got a 2,000 square foot house, and I've done all these things to make it really efficient and livable and a great place to be for people to be in, rather than a bunch of vacuous space. So I think those overriding principles people are beginning to think about, and I think kids are really understanding this. I'm not saying that certainly greed and consumption won't go away anytime soon, but I think there's also just a new way people are beginning to think about how they live their lives and what their impact is and what their legacy is on future generations. So that's an important thing. We've always thought about it, but I think people are thinking about it in a different way. Instead of leaving a lot of toys to your next generation, maybe you're leaving a good legacy of efficiency. So that's why we exist as a firm. We want to accelerate the adoption of clean energy technologies, and we do that by providing liquidity in the capital markets. And we go all the way from some early stage companies as a small part of our portfolio up to where we'll do financings for reverse mergers and companies just going public, and then also buying stock just out on the open market. And we go long short, so if there's opportunities for companies where we think the technology's done and they're on their way out, we may short those stocks, those equities. So how do you make money in energy. Basically, what you need to do is really understand the energy markets, and they're all intertwined geographically, globally, existing energy infrastructure for oil, natural gas, coal. Got to really understand all those things to understand clean tech, because clean tech in a lot of cases has got to displace some of those older technologies. And then in newer markets, say you've got a frontier market like Ethiopia or someplace in Africa, they don't have an existing infrastructure, so it's important to know how they're going to adopt clean tech. Are they just going to start building some traditional coal plants, or are they going to go for clean tech? I guess we'll see. So what are the drivers for clean tech? Why is this such a field that everybody seems to be talking about, and why is it important for our population as in general to get into? Well, one's energy demand. We've got a really incredible ramp ahead of us, I believe, for the amount of energy we're going to consume. So that's an important driver for it in all ways, really. Global warming is another area that we've got to be cognizant of, climate change. And even if, I know everyone's got a different opinion on it. Who thinks that man is a major cause of current global warming? A few? Half, a quarter? 5, 10% around there? Todd, what do you think?
I'm there.
Okay, he's there. He thinks man has. So pretty low percentage actually in this audience. And your opinion can vary because it's a massive system we're talking about. The globe's climate is so big, it's very difficult to model and exactly hard to tell where, what's causing climate change. And we all know, I've studied geology. I mean, we could get a giant volcano that could go off and it could completely alter our climate, or a meteor might hit the planet too. But from the data most scientists agree on is that a lot of the excess carbon in the atmosphere is causing warming right now. Pollution's another big issue, especially in China. It's the #1 cause of death in China. It's obviously not as big of a factor here in the US, but 25% of our particulate matter coming in the Southern California areas from China. So we should be cognizant of the fact that pollution is affecting us here. The other thing is when we buy so much of our oil from offshore, probably 60-70% I believe right now is bought from foreign countries. That money goes somewhere, and a lot of times it isn't used in the most beneficial way to repatriate back to us, as we saw with 9/11, for instance. A lot of that money was financed through oil money that we paid for, so it's a little difficult. The big thing, though, I think one of the biggest drivers, and maybe it's all those other items in the background, but it's just social. It's like I said before, people are beginning to wake up to the fact, and Jay Leno's got his eco challenge he does at 10 o'clock. I haven't seen it yet, but I've watched a couple pieces online. I think it's kind of neat. Just bring it to light. He's having a bunch of celebrities go around and drive around his race car track in this all-electric Ford Focus, which was made specially for a show.